So hi, everyone. I'm Robin Nazaro, and welcome to Glam Hive. I'm so excited to be here with our panelists to discuss how to make a statement with your style. But before we get into that, we have a few quick housekeeping notes. At any time during the session, please feel free to leave your questions, comments, and any technical support requests in the chat box. But please be mindful that this is public, so everyone can see what you're sending. We will be starting with our panel discussion for 30 minutes, and we'll leave 10 minutes at the end for any Q&A. The session will be recorded and will be available post-event for viewing. And don't forget to follow us at glamhive.com, at glamhive, and engage with us socially using the event hashtag glamhivelive. We also want to quickly thank our presenting sponsor, Mary Kay. Mary Kay and the Mary Kay Global Design Studio celebrate a world where beauty, fashion, and empowerment are synonymous. Mary Kay champions creative industries that are diverse, inclusive, and innovative at their core. In fact, the founder, Mary Kay Ash, was a trailblazer and innovator ahead of her time, much like our fabulous panelists that we have here today. So I'm excited to introduce our amazing panel. We have a really great topic: how to make a statement with your style. And I can't wait to learn and hear about their points of view and gain insight on this great topic that we have. So let me introduce Daniel Moon, celebrity hair colorist extraordinaire and owner of Hair Los Angeles Salon downtown; Karen Rose, celebrity accessory designer; Lizzie Rosenberg, fashion stylist; and Michelle Wah, founder and creative director of the luxury outerwear brand Michelle Wah. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
So let's talk about how to make a statement with your style. So Lizzie, is making a statement solely about standing out, or is fashion about communicating something bigger? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Robin, for the introduction. So in regards to making a statement with your style, on a very topical level, every time we leave the house, we're making a statement that's communicated through what we wear, right? So I think it's a matter of what you want to say about yourself and what your personal style is. That can be communicated through monochromatic dressing or pattern play. I think you should really stay true to what your personal style is and how you're feeling that day. I think that really radiates what message you want to communicate. If we're going a little bit more beyond the surface, there's definitely a way to speak to fashion and your style that is communicating things that are more political or socially considerate, if that's your choice to be mindful about selecting clothing when you're shopping that is sustainably manufactured. Private Policy happens to be a brand of mine right now that I'm favoring. They exercise the use of sustainable practices in manufacturing, as well as if you're thinking about marginalized groups and designers, being considerate of that when shopping is a great way to make a statement. Pyre Moss is a brand of mine that I'm really enjoying the clothing coming out of their brand at this time. And I think it's a wonderful time for you to speak to fashion if you want to make a larger statement than something that's just topical, but not necessary.
Yeah, I agree with that too. So Michelle, what accessory or piece of clothing do you think makes a statement with little effort?
Well, thank you for having me, Robin. I'm excited to be here. Well, I think in order to really understand what makes a statement piece, you need to understand the key differences between fashion and style. So sometimes it's hard to tell because the words are used so interchangeably all the time, but there are some key, different distinctions about them. So style, we're really referring to a person's particular way of expressing themselves. So in my case, it's through clothing. For other people, it can be through art or beauty or cooking. And I really think style is a shorthand word for personal style. And it comes down to the way the individual will express themselves through an aesthetic choice. So in fashion, it could be through an accessory, a piece of clothing, or a hairstyle, and then the way that all kind of comes together and creates the outfit or the look. Fashion, on the other hand, is a much more about a dominant style within a given culture at a very specific point in time. And it has to do with new trends, and it really has to do with the popular way of dressing at that moment. So the key difference is style is really about the person, where fashion is more about the collective, style's more timelessness, and fashion's more very, very timely. So this is where the fun part comes in. This is what I love so much about fashion, is the way that the style and fashion come together and overlap just in the streets day to day when people leave their homes. So many photographers are also so great at capturing that. Like, one of the things that I love the most about Fashion Week and having lived in New York City is really like when people are taking the clothes, they're taking the fashion, they're styling it to work as a form of expression for themselves, and they're making that happen in real time. So a statement piece for me, it's really about merging fashion with style. And for me, hands down, it's the coat. That's why I'm a coat designer. It takes very little effort, like wrap yourself in something a little more special, a little more distinctive. It's always going to be eye-catching. You can make it very refined. Many of us, when we buy a coat, we buy a neutral coat. We buy a black coat, a navy coat, and some of us adventurous, living on the edge, might throw a camel coat in there, but most of the time we're in our neutral coats. And for months, you're putting on this sleepy piece, maybe over a really well thought out outfit underneath that nobody really gets to see. So I would say my statement piece is definitely a coat. And if you want to make a statement with an overcoat, look for color palette, rich textures, kind of unique things about the sizing, whether a little oversized, a drop shoulder, the length of the coat. Ladies, your coat doesn't have to always stop at your knees. It's really nice to have it a little bit longer. Takes very little effort. It looks good on everybody. And I think it's also a friendlier way to attempt a trend.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I also think what I love about a coat being the statement piece that takes a little bit of a little less effort, I guess, is that it's like really your first impression. So it's the first thing that people see, especially in the winter time. So it's a great way to make a first impression, I think.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good thing. So Karen, does making a statement and self-expression go hand in hand, do you think?
Hi everyone, I'm super psyched to be here. And no, I don't think that they go hand in hand. I think that making a statement about your personal style is really what feels best for you. Like you can make a really big statement in a beautiful, neutral, or all black, which is a very New York thing, kind of an outfit. But if you're here for this, with us now, you're not here for advice on how to just sort of make a neutral statement. I'm a big color person. I'm a crystal artist. I like play with rhinestones all day. So I've always loved sparkle. There's a sort of a lizard brain thing about it that I love, and a cubism thing about it that I love. I love sequins. I also love that I'm not the only one in my closet right now. And for me, I love statements that are like large proportions, large colors. Colors can't be large, but bright colors that feel very large. And as someone who identifies as a woman, I love being a woman who can take up a lot of space. I'm a huge fan of a statement coat because you can just be like this big thing. I love giant pants. I love big sleeves. And I'm very much a fan of sparkles, and sparkles are actually a really great way. Sparkles and accessories are a really great way to dip your toe into making a statement, because you can have like a classic blazer with a rhinestone chain trim. You can start with a rhinestone earring or a rhinestone beret. You can also test, like if leopard is big that season, but you're not a leopard person, you can get a leopard scarf, and that's a really easy way to, like, if you're dipping your toes into the statement making water, I think that's a really great way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that accessories are a really great way to get.
They're my favorite. I love them.
So Daniel, and I'm excited about this question. Why is color important to making a statement, and what are your favorite ways to use it?
Well, what's up, beautiful people? Glam Hive, thank you for having me. Really stoked to be here to talk color with you guys. What's my favorite way to use color, or let's even just start off with color. I feel like off the bat, color creates the conversation, and it's an icebreaker. And it's funny. It's because you'll show up in a room, and or be in a coffee line or anywhere you're at, and someone, anybody can just, it gives them something, like, you become the painting, you become the art that makes somebody say, hey, well, I like your hair. And automatically, you're having a conversation with a stranger, that can take you pretty much anywhere. They can end up being your best friend, your client. And you could just end up having a great conversation. And my favorite way.
Wait, I think you're muted by mistake.
I go on mute.
There you go. You're off now. Yep.
Okay, great. Did you guys get the last bit?
No.
Okay. Sorry
It's
about
not that my favorite way.
Okay, wait. My favorite way. Okay, my favorite way then. My favorite way to use color is, that's where I get to be creative. I like to use it. It's like you start with the hair, but I try to use it in any other kind of way. Starting with the hair, and then also going to the clothes, and then going to the vehicles. I got a baby blue Jeep with a baby blue interior, and it just really activates people in such a positive way that, I'm driving around, like my town, I'm in Los Feliz. So I drive around, and like people are waving me, or I get text messages from my friends. Hey dude, I saw the blue Jeep. And I'm like, oh yeah, dude, you're here. So it's like, it really is so special that it just like creates connection automatically. And, I think I've been really fell in love with it about 10 years ago. I've been doing hair 20 years. And the last 10 years have been the most exciting, because it's actually, made me like a magnet to all the people that I love, what they make. They love their energy. Like, it's really, created this conversation for me to really like fall in love with my surroundings.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think that anything that like can sum up like a positive emotion in someone is especially in the times that we're living in now. So it's just like, I totally get that color does that and brings people together. So that is really special. So Lizzie, for stylists watching right now, what are some benefits to styling your clients into statement making looks? Or what are some of the benefits of making statement making looks when you're thinking about editorial, but then if someone was going to translate that into their everyday wardrobe?
I think that what I select, if it's for editorial, might not be the same for what I would put someone in for everyday clothing. I think that considering lifestyle and your personal needs is something that's very important as a stylist when dressing someone. There are really 4 things that I adhere to when consulting a client on dressing. And the first one is dressing for your age. The second is for your body type. For the third one being for the occasion, and the fourth one being to know when to let things go from your closet. I think that if you're able to communicate and empower your clients, or or even yourself every single day when you're getting dressed with that self-awareness, the best accessory comes through in making a statement, which is confidence. But these things I've noticed myself, and perhaps as a stylist, I'm more hyper aware of it, but you know, going off the general census that we're all here as creatives, have a more attuned eye to what we're seeing in the world, are more cognizant of these details. And I think at the end of the day, it all really goes back to energy and self-confidence. That's, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately it translates, if it's done correctly, through acquiring new clients, which, you know, I think is like a little bit more obvious of an answer, but I think just empowering your clients through these tips and tools, you know, really is the most successful thing that you can do as an artist and stylist.
Yeah, I agree. So Michelle, just to piggyback on that too, I was going to ask, what feeling do you attribute to making a style statement? Is it confidence, fearlessness, fun?
I think to kind of add on to Lizzie, like confidence for sure and authenticity. And I think mixed in with a little bit of, you know, spirited fun. When someone is making a style statement, I can't, you know, and they're being sincere and authentic to their true self, you can't help but notice that they'll be confident while making that statement. And that statement piece mixed with the confidence and the authenticity, I think ultimately kind of communicates a certain attitude about the person. So for me, when I see someone making a style statement and they're confident, it makes me see the person as, you know, they're engaging, they're passionate about something, they're expressing themselves, they're choosing to stand out, which makes me feel, and they might not be like this, but it does make me feel like they could be fun spirited, a little optimistic, approachable. And that's memorable and unique to others, you know, when you're portraying that. So I think the ultimate style statement is expressing your truest self and leaving, you know, and leaving people remembering that. Then you've nailed it.
Yeah. So Karen, should every wardrobe include a few conversation starter pieces, and what are some of your favorites? I'm
So-
sure you're.
I feel like this is especially being in New York City, this is such a loaded question because you're in New York City and you wear something that people want to talk to you about, they will. So, I mean, again, at the end of the day, I think, you know, Michelle really summed it up beautifully. It's really about like your personal comfort, being true to yourself, being authentic. But if you want some style statement pieces, I'm happy to recommend. I'm huge on color and pattern, of course. And so, you know, whether it's like a statement, you can have a statement coat, you can have a statement bag, you can have, and sort of a lot of accessory pieces, you know. Shoes are a really great way to have a style, to make a style statement without feeling really overwhelmed. As an eyewear designer and an accessory designer, I find sunglasses to be another really easy vehicle for making a statement without feeling too overwhelmed, because it's literally something you can put them on, and then you go inside and you take them off. So it's not something that you're committed to all day, but it still feels really special. Yeah, I mean, I think that those would probably be, you know, coat, bag, shoes, sunglasses. I love a chunky earring. And, you know, also hair is really, you know, hair is part of fashion. You know, Daniel does this professionally. I live in it all the time. Having fun hair is a blast. And if you're not ready to fully commit to a dye job, and I'm sure Daniel can speak on this more, I could not recommend curating yourself a little box of wigs, keeping it in your closet. And when you want to have a fun day, just pop a wig cap on, put a wig over it, and go have a blast.
Yeah. I mean, I would certainly think that like a bolder hair color would definitely be like a conversation starter, because I feel like where people might have been apprehensive in the past to make such a bold, because it does make a bold statement. I feel like more people are trying or willing to try that now. And it definitely is like, oh, that's such a cool hair color. Like, so.
Yeah. I've had this hair color. The roots are new, but I've had orange hair for I think 12 years now. And I don't think I've gone a day without someone, again, this is New York. So I haven't gone a day without someone stopping me or saying something. And it's actually, it can be kind of fun, but yeah, definitely a conversation starter for sure.
That's great. So Daniel, how can beauty, hair and makeup, nails contribute to a bold look?
I feel when it comes to
Sorry about that.
when it comes to hair, I know that Brooke was in the last conversation was talking about building the character of your personal style. I think that hair color and hair, can help just get you there faster. And it doesn't necessarily, there's what I go over with my clients is that, there are variations of hair color changes, from, say, if it was like a volume, it's like from low to high, is that, you can have the most minimum, like just the tips colored, or, you can have be full rainbow, or, you could stick in the elevated color, but going like natural. I've really loved like a beigey golden blondes. That 70s blondes is really beautiful, that like starting to become real popular and beautiful now. Also like, I think they like a copper red really takes somebody who likes being in that natural world, but can completely change them around, and really land them on the person who they feel that they are inside. So I think this plays a big role in, like, then you start to match your nails, then you start to like match your makeup. It opens up all these opportunities for you to play with color as a puzzle, and it becomes very fun. And I think that's really brings the artist and like the child out and people, when you start to kind of like you just kind of like put those glasses on again, and you start to be open to it, and you start like really having fun for yourself.
Yeah, it's great. So Michelle, is making a statement key to getting noticed? Do you think it is?
I think making a statement will get you noticed. It'll definitely catch the eye. But I think after that, it really becomes about the person. So, okay, you've caught my attention, and now we're kind of going into a direction of who is this person. And it really ultimately then becomes about their attitude, the way they're engaging, their personality, their fun-loving spirit might be coming through, their confidence. So I think a statement will get you noticed, but I think the energy you kind of exude while you're doing that is what's gonna make you memorable. But yeah, will wearing something that's bold or colorful get you noticed? Absolutely. And then I think it goes a little, what are you like when you're doing that? I think that's what really makes it memorable.
And then so Karen, so this is maybe, well, I guess not a similar question, but how can someone who doesn't like to take a lot of fashion risks make a statement?
I'm super excited for this question. I think that accessories are super, super key here. So, if there's a trend that's happening that's really big, neon, animal print, a lot of glitter, sort of like, the checkered pattern is really big this season. Instead of getting a neon jumpsuit or a checkered, two-piece, you can start with a neon lucite bracelet. You can get a checkered hair clip or a checkered scrunchie, a pair of Vans. Eyewear is a really great place to play here too, because again, it's something that you can you can really test and put on and take off throughout the day, while, you're not gonna, if you're wearing neon shoes during the day, you're not gonna have an opportunity to really take those off when you're outside. Um, and it's definitely about doing what the point of expressing yourself through clothing is to make you feel like your best self.
Mhm.
So if one of these trends is happening, like if, for instance, I shy away from leopard print because I feel as though it makes me a little too Peg Bundy, and I feel a little kitschy that
Love
way.
that.
And so it's not something that I lean into. But I'll put on a leopard shoe, I'll carry a leopard handbag, no problem. Um, so I think it's really, so even though I love leopard, when I wear a full leopard outfit, I feel a little off. And so I don't do that. So I think try all of the trends that you want. I'm a huge fan of trying things out, seeing what works for you, but you don't have to fully commit with an outfit. You can start with a hair accessory, an eye accessory, an ear accessory, any accessory really. That would be my tip for how to sort of how to do that in probably the most economical and best emotional way.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Um, so Daniel, what are some benefits to being a statement maker in everyday life?
I just have to say I love what everybody's sharing today. It's really fun. I relate to all of it. Um, some of the benefits is that you have such a wide like spectrum that you get to kind of play with, you know. I
Mhm.
think that in today's like world that, there's really no genres anymore. And I know growing up, even myself, that there were genres and you're like, okay, I was at a time like a greaser and then I was like this. But now there's no genres. So you can be anybody you want to be from day to day, which I think wants that. And I think like once you have that, that freedom, and then especially with technology, is you start kind of like waving in and out of these places, and you start creating this excitement of like, oh, when people see you on a FaceTime, or they see you on a Instagram story, or they see you on a Zoom, they're like, oh, well, what are you wearing? What color are you wearing, like in your hair, or what are your nails? Like it's just kind of creates this excitement that I find very interesting. But it's also a really good thing about being a statement maker also is that you get to share it, and people will believe you. And I think that that's what I really love, is to be able to be like an access point for some people, when they're like, I've kind of been thinking about change. I'm like, let's do it. And then making that opportunity for them. And then, you know, that person is then like lit up. So we can kind of be like these lighters in people's lives. And, that just the simplest accessory, or, like a nail polish or a coat, or a dress, like just recommending these things could then open those doors that those people will never forget, and I think that's a really big plus in being a statement maker.
Yeah, I think that that's great advice. And I think just to go back to your point, that in the past it used to be that you were sort of boxed in, and what's great about today is that there really isn't that anymore. So you can really be more free and to be yourself and to make these bolder statements too. That's
And I think it's just in our head sometimes, we get stuck and we get a little nervous, but it is, times are different, and people are almost like waiting for it. They're excited when they're like, oh, you changed something, I think it's great. I think we're in a great time right now.
Yeah, I agree. So Lizzie, is what is the key to creating a look that is a fashion statement versus looking like an absolute disaster?
It's a little bit of a sensitive
It
question
is,
to
I know, I'm
answer.
sorry.
I just want to preface that straight out the
Yeah.
gate, because I would never want to discourage anyone from expressing themselves the way that they feel that day. My personal style changes from day to day, just on my mood and where I'm going. So, there's always the chance that somebody's not going to appreciate what you're wearing, but as long as you like it, that's of course king in all of this. But if there's anything, I will say that the best thing you can do is find a great tailor, someone who is going to help your clothing proportionately look right on you. As somebody myself who's petite, this is something that I've needed to make use of my entire life, and it's allowed me to wear clothing that perhaps I would have not been attracted to initially because it wasn't designed to be made for somebody who's 5'2". And having that ability is such an incredible thing. I encourage everyone to take a look at their jeans tonight and see if they're cuffing them. Spend the $10, go to the tailor, get them hemmed correctly to your height. The other thing that I will mention is wearing comfortable shoes. If you are choosing to wear a pair of shoes because you love the way that they look and you don't look good wearing them because you're just in insufferable pain, people pick up on that immediately, and all they'll be able to do is notice the fact that you're walking funny the entire night. They miss everything else that's wonderful and fantastic about you and your outfit, and it's not only painful for them but for you as well. So those are two things that I definitely appreciate and keep in mind whenever I'm getting dressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just like beyond shoes too, even with your clothing, you have to be comfortable in it. And I don't just mean like wearing sweats and just being comfortable in but if you're constantly like lifting up your shirt and like, it's just going to come across that you're not like, you don't feel confident in that, like what you're wearing. So you're better off making sure that it's tailored to you or layering it. Like I have a camisole on under my shirt right now because it's a little low cut for me. So I feel like just being comfortable definitely will help you with confidence too. And then that sets the overall stage for your style. But because you mentioned also that you were petite, we do have a few questions here. So a few questions about petite specifically. So what is a good way for a petite client to make a statement? So I guess anyone can answer, but maybe Lizzie, if you want to just.
Sure, yeah, I can kick it off. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I think that using pattern is a great way for somebody who's petite to make a statement. I mean, anyone really for that matter, but particularly someone who is a little bit more petite. You give yourself a stage to stand on, amidst everyone else who's towering over you. High heels, of course. I mean, that might be a more obvious answer, but I think as in speaking about heels for petites, it's best to buy shoes that don't have an ankle strap because you really cut yourself off at the ankle. And as somebody who's petite, the goal is to elongate your frame, and that's just something that's easily avoidable, and that will give you an extra couple of inches to the naked eye.
That's great. Great tip. We have another question too. So this is from Kitty. So she's interested in the comment on dressing for your age. Can you expand? Does anybody want to talk about dressing for your age?
Oh, yes, I'll speak on that too. I think there's a thing with growing older with color, and also, what I love about having like colored hair is that, and I'm older too, is that I love the contrast of it, and it becomes very like modern and artistic when I can wear suits, or when I see, I feel like Nicole Richie did it really well in the beginning when it was like she's wearing lavender hair and she's in Tom Ford.
Mhm.
I'm like, that contrast to me is so perfect and like futuristic, but like modern that, I do that as well. Like I'll wear like Jacquemus or I'll wear like Ralph Lauren. I'm like, okay, I want to get pictures of me on a sailboat. I like this idea of like alternative kid being like luxury. And like that idea to me, when you can dress it up, color then eliminates age, and it just becomes so interesting that I don't really even think that people know what to do with it, and that's when it becomes magic. So being able to kind of like play with that visual and being older, I think, is very, very unique and very fun.
Yeah, that's great. So Michelle, someone has a question. They're really into coats right now, different lengths, patterns, colors, all of it. Is there anything you can recommend?
Well, some of the things that I noticed being with clients and being, in the changing room with customers is most women, and going back to even the petite thing, most women think a longer coat on them is not attractive. It makes them look short, or it can make them look wider. And it actually does the complete opposite. The other thing I notice is women want their coats so tight. Do not wear, like, your coat, I think it shouldn't be this like fitted piece on your body. Like, let it fall on you, let it drape on you, go a little more oversized, drop your shoulder, get the length. You can also, talking about the petite girls as well, you can wear a longer coat and put a very wide belt. And the wider the belt on that longer coat will actually make your legs look a lot longer. So I think for women, the misconceptions is length, it's fit. Don't go tight with your coat, make it longer, have it really like you threw it on and it's just draping. It's not supposed, like, don't have it hugging, your waist, your boobs, your bum, your hips, like really just like you effortlessly threw it on and it's just kind of falling on you. You won't go wrong.
Yeah, I love that. Also, it's very practical too, with like chunky knit sweaters.
You hide everything under
using your
coat.
arms.
Yeah.
So we're just wrapping up here. We only have a few more minutes left. But let's see, I'm just looking through some of these questions here. Somebody has, Lizzie, when prepping for an editorial, what are some steps you take to bring concept to life? And everyone's saying they love your dress, by the way.
Oh, thank you, guys. When prepping for an editorial and considering the creative vision, what I like to keep in mind are not only giving a range in terms of breaking up dresses, giving skirt look options, giving pant look options, so that there's a variety, because there's so many incredible designers out there right now, those who have been established for decades and those who are new onto the scene, but we're seeing fashion done in ways that is more accessible and that we can break it down. And I think showing that you're able to style things on your own interchangeably and not relying on one note piece like a dress, for example, really shows your ability as a creative to execute in the space. And I also like to keep in mind showing a variety of brands, giving new and emerging designers a platform to be showcased, and supporting their business, as they are the future of the business, but as well paying homage to the designers and the houses that we've all been so inspired by throughout the courses of our careers, and really paying tribute to them as the initial trailblazers.
Yeah, That's great. There's so many amazing comments that I wish that I could say to you all and finish reading all the questions, but we have to wrap. So thank you everyone so much for joining us today. You will now have a 5-minute transition to take a break before entering your next session at the agenda tab on our conference site. Thank you all so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Lizzie.
Everyone.
Thanks, everybody.